Giants Life World Open and World Deadlift Championships. What were the results? Did anyone pull 505? This is our review and our thoughts on the competition.
I won't stop till they hear me now. I won't stop till I wear the crown.
Today I'm joined by Paul Dwyer.
Yeah, dyed the old grey beer and it went a bit darker than what it said on the box. But yeah.
I can't decide if he look. He's
Top
like
of the morning to you.
he's like Paul Dwyer and Big Loss's love child.
Yeah. At least it's not grey anymore. First event then, the World Deadlift Championships. So, what was your thoughts?
I know this sounds a bit bad, but I feel a little bit like underwhelmed. But
It's which is crazy
Which
because
is
we're so
crazy.
used to like.
because like it was won with an amazing deadlift, which was 476 kilos.
Multiple guys pulling £1,000.
Yeah, I think this time there was about 5 guys that pulled £1,000 plus. I think last year there was maybe 8.
Yeah.
So slightly less guys pulling £1,000, but there was a lot of dropouts, which probably obviously made the standard maybe not as high as last year. But again, it was a great competition to watch. Rauner Heinle getting the Masters world record at 476 kilos.
Really good, solid, clean pull.
Yeah,
Hicksy looked good. He was saying about the hamstrings on the next event, so maybe that's why he didn't go for the 476.
Yeah.
Because he looked like he had a bit more in him. Maybe could have got that, but.
And then Gav didn't get the £1,000.
It looked like maybe Gav. I don't know if they tried to put the suit on a bit tighter. Sometimes, like people will do that for the heavier they get, they'll put the suit on tighter, and then you can't get position.
But if you look at his setup from the 400 and the 425, it was a lot less rushed. I think he rushed the setup of the £1,000. He didn't get into as good a position as his first 2 pulls.
It looked like to me that he couldn't breathe. So that. He was struggling to breathe, so he had to take longer, and then he moved his feet in and tried to do it more quad. He's very much a wide guy, like a Jerry Pritchard type puller, pulls a lot of hamstrings out the floor, and he pulls like straight away as soon as to get that stretched reflex. As soon as he's strapped on, he's going. And that's what he was doing on every other pull, which looked really good. So I'm assuming, obviously I haven't talked to him or anything, but I think maybe they put the suit on a little bit too tight. And he couldn't breathe. Otherwise, I do think he would have got that.
So the 505 again didn't go. Makarov got it to his knees, just below his knees again. And then he pulled out the rest of the competition because he wasn't feeling very well.
No.
Which is a shame. The 505 record is allured for another year.
I really thought he would get it this time. So, but again, he's missed the timing. He hasn't got the timing right. He would have done it in training. I'm sure he would have done it in training if he attempted it, and he's just not got the timing right. Again, it's not peaks for the comp, so seems to be a habit, doesn't it? And I don't know if he's ever going to get it now. But Mitchell Hooper obviously was talking about the 505, ended up missing the 476. Maybe again didn't get the peaking right. Maybe it's that he's focusing more on sort of other things now as well. That's one thing to think about strongman. If you're just focusing like on a few events, I know he didn't have like a lot of equipment in the first place. I don't think he still does now have everything, but maybe he wasn't focusing on as many events and being as well rounded when he did that 475. So maybe that's why it's a bit of a struggle training for all the events and all the different competitions.
And that's the problem with having a lot of competitions come up, is that you can't come in 100% to them all because you've got so many different events to train for. You're trying to like peak and you're trying to keep peaking. Like he's got Shore Classic next week, and then the couple of weeks after he's probably got another show and then another show. Like he's doing quite a lot this year, and it's good because it's kind of giving him more experience as like a novice to the sport, even though he's not a novice. He is
really, to be honest.
Well, he's not novice level in weight.
He's not novice level, but he's a novice still,
yeah,
really.
So that's what you'd kind of get like novice people to do is just to go in and get competition experience,
Yeah.
and that's the year that he's doing that, and he's learning like what to do, what not to do, and I think he will get better. I think this year is just kind of his year of testing the waters and kind of getting that experience. Like they say, you never win World's Strongest Man or even really World's Strongest Woman on your first go. Like, you've got to go there, experience it, learn what to do, what not to do, and then come back with that knowledge, and then that's when you kind of come in and smash it.
Let's hope that's not the case for Victoria Long, because
Yeah.
she nearly did it on the first go. So, well, we'll talk about the rest of the event, because Mitchell Hooper did very, very well.
Yeah.
So, the loading net was farmers into loading next. Pretty tough event. Hamstrings were screaming for a lot of the guys, I'm sure.
Everyone was dropping like flies.
Yeah.
That is one thing to say. I think they started with 11 athletes and finished with like 7.
It's not surprising with these weights to pull in, is
Yeah.
it? It's not surprising. Really tough shows, fast paced. After those pulls, it's going to be hard to do anything.
It takes a lot out of you pulling
Yeah.
that heavy and pulling like max lifts and stuff. It just fries your central nervous system,
Yeah.
and you just come back and your body's screaming at you to stop.
You just feel like you've been run over by a bus
Yeah.
or tranquilised or something. You just got no go in you. And you've seen that with a few guys. Even into the next event, they were struggling on the log as well. But here we've got to talk about Pavlo.
He's insane.
This guy can move. So really good performance. I think he won the farms into loading. Really good transitions. Straight away, we could see that he looked a lot more practiced. Like last year, he just didn't look practiced.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like, is he just not maybe the smartest of guys? Doesn't understand things? Isn't? Some people are like that. Like, you've got to be quite intelligent, really, in reality, or at least have, a good coach that knows what they're doing and be able to, enough to understand that. And it didn't look like he understood the techniques, didn't look like he understood what he needed to do, like the strategy and everything wasn't there, all the other things. It's not just about strength. It was obvious last year, his strength and speed and everything was ridiculous.
But he had just come over from powerlifting, so again, like, he was probably just novice and kind of just come in to kind of more or less have a go, because last year he was drafted in just for the deadlift championships and he just wanted to do the full competition again.
I've seen a video and he only had 4 weeks. He only trained 4 weeks on the events last time, so that's the reason why. Obviously, this time he trained twice that, 8 weeks. So still not, he's not really a full-time strongman like the other guys, training year in, year out all the time on the events and stuff like that. So he can get obviously even better. I think the sky's the limit for that guy.
He's got a big future. Like, his transitions, like, as soon as I saw him, I was like, nobody's beating that. Like, when you put in the sandbag and the keg into the skip, he was throwing and turning as it was dropping in, and that's what you need to be doing. Like, a lot of the people, they were kind of dropping it in, waiting a second, and then turning around, and it costs you seconds, it costs time.
He was really efficient. You don't usually see that unless somebody's very experienced, or that, like, for him not being sort of a full-time strongman, especially with the war going on in Ukraine as well, you wouldn't think he'd be that practice area, but he obviously had been training very hard for this. He came in leaner, but one thing to say, he got 1,000 pounds on the deadlift. Obviously last year he was going for the 505, got sick beforehand, did 475. Looked maybe a little bit weaker in the deadlift there, but he apparently had a back injury and he only had 4 weeks of prep for the deadlift this time.
Yeah.
So 4 weeks and he's pulling £1,000. Ridiculous. So we've got to talk about Novikov, because it was expected Novikov would win this event for most people. He didn't look like he was peaked up for this comp, did he? He didn't look quite as big. He didn't look quite strong.
But you never know what's going on, like whether he's getting the chance to properly train, like with everything going on in Ukraine. So to still come in and give a performance that he did was.
And you've got to prioritise some shows over other shows as well. So maybe this time he just needed time to come off a little bit and not be that peak strength. just didn't look quite himself in this competition as a whole. I think he was in third place on the medley. Still looked good, but yeah, Evan was really good on this event as well. But then Evan had to pull out and go to hospital. I've not heard. Have you heard of what's happened there? Not sure what's happened there. Happened at World's Strongest Man as well. Not the best. So Evan was out. So that was one of the major ones for the top three. He was out then. Then we went into the log. A lot of people were saying Hicksy was going to win this, but he just didn't have anything there.
I wouldn't have thought that he'd have the conditioning to kind of go through, especially after the deadlift.
Especially with 75 seconds.
A 75-second time limit, you need to be conditioned for it.
But he just didn't have anything in his hips. He couldn't even clean it. I think he got 3 reps.
I think his back was gone from the deadlift.
Back was gone, everything, yeah.
So the winner of that was Novikov with 8 reps.
It was not Novikov with 8 reps. It was Novikov got 7 reps. Pavel got 7 reps.
Yeah.
And Mitchell Hooper got 8 reps.
Oh yeah, Mitchell. Sorry. The winner of that was Mitchell with 8 reps. Let's just cut out everything before.
Yeah, that was surprising, but I didn't think Mitchell did well on the loading as well. You mentioned him. I think he was 4th or something like that. I'm not sure. 2nd, maybe 4th. Can't remember if he was 2nd or 4th. Everyone was good as well. They were all pretty close.
I think he came 2nd because he went out in the last heat for the log.
He was close to. He was with Mitchell, wasn't he? Yeah. He was with Pavlo. Yeah. He got 2nd. Yeah, so very good on the loading. And then eked out the reps. Personally, I wouldn't have given him 2 of the reps. I thought he was losing it forward.
The first and the last one.
Maybe need a side judge there. He looked like he's very tight overhead. You can see the difference between, one of the things people won't realise is to be at the top, like elite, world class, like world's strongest man level kind of thing, you need to be flexible as well. And that's one of the things that you need. And he didn't look flexible at all, and he was really struggling to lock out. Whereas Pavlo on the other side was super flexible, really flexible. His lats and shoulders looked really good. They had like just one mat, which was throwing guys off. I don't know if there's something happened, some kind of failure with the usual 2 mats.
Originally they were going to do it off the floor, and we were like, what? And then they changed it to one mat, and then that's when Novikov bashed his leg in, and I think he's got some kind of hematoma in his leg, because it was like bruised up within
and
like 2 minutes of finishing the event. But yeah, like they had to clean like the log, quite kind of straddling this 12-inch, 12. Is it 12-inch?
Probably.
Oh, quite wide mat. No, 12 inches, isn't it?
I don't know.
Inches mat.
It was one mat instead of the 2 on each side, where you can't really just drop it and go. But the one other thing again, Pavlo was by far the best technically on that, dealing with that mat much better, much more control. The transition between the reps.
And the thing with strongman, it's the wild west of strength sports, really. Like, you've got to just be prepared for anything. And unfortunately, just something must have happened with the giant size mats where they couldn't have 2 different mats. And
I assume one was ripped in warm-ups or something like that.
Yeah.
Something's happened.
So the next event then was the forward hold, and I think Gav did quite well at this event. I think he came like top, was it 3rd?
He was kind of in that top 5 all the way through. Yeah. Gav did really well. You could see his fitness. He made a few mistakes on a couple of events. But he either didn't put the farmers right to the end of the course, just dropped them slightly early, maybe thinking they would slide a bit, and they kind of didn't. Which usually is the case with them, so I don't know what happened there. But he just was literally like a foot from the line or something. That cost him maybe about 3 seconds. His time would have been really good. It was, I think, 49 seconds, under 50 seconds anyway, which is really good. And he sprinted the end on the tyre, and you could see that his fitness, he wasn't that out of breath afterwards, and you was like, yeah, Gab's got his fitness up. And he was one of the guys who was really affected by the one mat on the log. I think he would have done a lot better otherwise, but I ended up getting to start 5th again, 5th, 6th place. He was quite consistent all the way through. Did better on this event. Got around 40 seconds, but then there was a lot of guys that went after. When you've got that time to beat it's much easier to do that because you just need that mental goal, because it is a really tough event. It is painful. It is difficult.
Like we said in the predictions video, it's just a very mental event. You've just got to play with yourself, kind of thing.
It's maybe not that taxing in terms of the effects of it afterwards, but during it's one of the toughest events there is.
Yeah.
Any kind of hold event is. But again, Mitchell Hooper won this event, so fair play, and it was 100% legit. Really good performance. 54 seconds.
If you look at the video, his bum did come away from the pole.
Okay, it wasn't really
about like 12 seconds to go. Like you see a shot, you see a shot of him, and you can see there's clear air between him and the pole.
Maybe they need a side judge there. You can't see these things from the front. If you're losing a log from the front, it looks the same. If you're like got your ass off on the post, it looks the same from the front.
But then if you introduce side judges, it turns into powerlifting a little bit, and like when does
you need proper judging, don't you? I think you should have a side judge as well. How can you see? You can't see from the front with those things. It's impossible.
So the last event, the stones, and a special honorary mention goes to Gav and his amazing set of stones. What an incredible time he put in is 18.5 seconds. He absolutely smashed it and went out with an absolute bang.
Ever.
Definitely. So he smashed it. He came top 5 like overall, and I just think
that's what it says, that Gav has a chance of top 5 here, and he did it.
I had Gav in 5th place, didn't I?
Yeah.
So yeah.
He's really improving. He's probably maybe the most improved guy. Like he was at Worlds for sure, and he's keeping going. His fitness is really good. So maybe a little bit of a mistake with the suit or something on the deadlift, just didn't get it quite right. Otherwise, I maybe could have been on the podium.
So, and the winner of the stones was Pablo, again nearly a second faster than Gav. He was absolutely insane. He kind of improved so much from last year, where he was basically curling the stones. I was like looking at it last year, like crying for his biceps.
It was like, how are you even doing that? That's insane.
So massive improvement for him as well. And yeah, everyone did. Shane Flowers did quite a quick stones as well, considering his ankle was kind of injured again. He was around 20 seconds. Everyone was quite fast, weren't they, really? I think maybe they should kind of have the heavier set of stones.
It's just because their backs and everything's so destroyed, they've got a full season to think about. I think it makes sense for giant slides to do the lighter stones sometimes, to be honest. I know people don't want to see it, but you're going to just get injured and then they're not going to be able to see them at another show. So it just doesn't make sense for giant slide. They want them to compete the full year. You know, that's their selling point, isn't it? And they want the athletes to be able to earn money and do it professionally. If you get injured, you can't earn anything. So, you know.
So overall, it was a really good show. We enjoyed watching it, and yeah, it was really good. So
it looks like Pavlo's going to be world's strongest man, doesn't it? Like, if he carries on in the same way, because he's qualified for Worlds now. He's just got everything, hasn't he? He's got the strength is ridiculous. His speed is ridiculous. His conditioning looked good. His flexibility looked good. His technique is looking much improved. I think he's a massive problem for everybody. I don't see Tom being able to beat him. I don't see Novikov being able to beat him. I don't see anybody being able to get near him, to be honest, if he keeps focused on this and does it full time. If he doesn't get injured, I mean, that's the obvious thing that could happen. But crazy.
So, at the end of the day, the results, Pavlo came first, Mitch Hooper came second, third place was Alexei Novikov, fourth place was Graham Hicks, fifth was Gav, sixth was Heinler, and seventh was Shane Flowers.
And Andy Black was eighth, and then the rest of them had to pull out, either injured or something.
Hopefully it's nothing too serious. Hopefully they all get well soon and they've not got any long-term issues. Hope that Novikov's bicep is fine, because he was complaining that he might have torn his bicep.
Torn his quad as well.
So fingers crossed things aren't too bad for them. And yeah, that's the end of the video really. So if you enjoyed our analysis, let us know below. And if you've got anything to add, any comments about the show, let us know. And we will see you in the next one. Have a fantabulously good day.